3rd, 2018. We're in the first floor conference room at City Hall. We'll go around and introduce ourselves.
Steve Koth, Alderman.
Joe Terry, Director of Public Works.
Joe Eckstead, City Engineer.
Scott Kellogg, Alderman.
Joe Kazicki, resident.
Thank you. Item number 1, review the DPW report.
Tom, in light of our guest, do we want
Should we
to
jump to
forego that and jump to number
Yep.
7 so he doesn't have to
Fine with me.
stay here all night?
Okay, yeah. Number 7 is review the request to discuss condition of the alley west of 2nd Avenue between Park and Lion Street.
All right, so right in the middle of the screen, we've got an aerial photo of that alley. It is currently not paved, and a number of the residents on 2nd Avenue South between Park and the Expressway have recently lost their access, or losing their access from 2nd Avenue South, and so there's some more traffic on that alley. It, from my recollection, I haven't been out there lately, but my recollection, the alley's a high point. Generally flows away from the alley down to all the homes in both directions.
Joe, you have anything?
Well,
What do you have?
thank you for putting me on the agenda. That, first of all, it's a personal hardship for me. When I found out they were doing that, and I agree with the project, that's a real safety hazard, that 2nd Avenue to the roundabout is really a mess. And I've had to do snow removal along 2nd Avenue there. And when them semis come off the expressway around that corner, they're doing 40, 45 miles an hour, and it's very, very dangerous. But in order for me to get access to my garage from the alley, I went out and got bids from landscapers and excavators to remove a driveway and install a new driveway. I had to have the garage remodeled to move the garage doors from one side to the other. And I got bids for $24,000 for that. And the city gave me 20, of which wasn't near enough. I've got a tenant that lives upstairs in that house. She just wrote me a letter today and said that she won't be able to do another winter there. She doesn't have her own transportation, and the cab service will not use the alley in the winter. So she can't get in and out for groceries or any of her errands. She's been there for 29 years, so for her that's going to be a real hardship. And the moisture, like Joe mentioned, the water, because the alley is anywhere approximately 18 to 24 inches higher than the rest of the landscape there. The garage fills up with water, and the new driveway was just an ice rink. I asked Tom to go there. I don't know if I asked
I
you.
saw it.
Yeah, and it really is. I cannot take my vehicle there and park it in there to remove my snow blower to do snow removal because I can't get back out. I tried to park on the alley once or twice, and there's a disgruntled somebody that lives on the alley, and he calls the police. Please come there and tell me to. I can't even leave it there long enough to take my snow blower off and make a place for me to park in the driveway. So it's been a hardship. I've got several $1,000s of my own money to do the rearranging and revamping, plus over 80 hours of my labor. So it's just not through my eyeballs. It's just not been a good project for me. It's been a real.
What has happened? Have they put layers on over time and built it up, and that's why it...
I think, again, without doing any survey work, just looking at it, looks like that is naturally the high point. And, you generally try to keep roads dry so that they last as long as possible. It's not paved. Without pavement and without some type of storm sewer, if the alley were a low point, it wouldn't have a long service life because it would be, frost heaved and poor soil conditions if it were a low point. So it is naturally a high point, and it's very narrow. It's only 10 foot, I think it's a 10 or 12 foot alley, and it's just aggregate at this point.
So, I hear what you're saying about high points, low points. What about if we made it just slightly higher? So, I don't know, bring it down from 18 to,
Yeah, we'd have
6
to,
inches,
we'd
or-
have to, perform a survey on it and try to figure out what can be done. And I think, I've talked to Tom briefly, but I think in general, really, we as a city should look at our general policy on alleys, how they're paved, when they're paved. Because we do have a number of alleys right now that, due to other projects, other street conditions, things like that, haven't received any attention because there isn't any money to do it. And so I think taking a little more comprehensive look, aside from this particular alley, we have some alleys that are virtually unpassable because the pavement condition is so poor that, really, we're in a position where we need to peel the pavement off and just, grade it and maintain it as a gravel surface, unless we come up with some other means and methods for maintaining them. Certainly, yeah.
Another thing to consider too is that although it's an alley, it's gravel, it's narrow. Formerly, the traditional alley, it's a secondary access point. It's now their primary access for a few of the property owners anyway. And, so that, at least how that might play into snow plowing operations or general use for the property owners and how they get in and out. Certainly the drainage issues existed prior to access removals.
Well, that's a primary access now for at least 5 homeowners that didn't have to use the alley before.
Sure. So yeah, just some other aspects there that might come into play as we look at it, I guess.
Joe, when bringing this up, what exactly were you looking for with the alley?
Pardon?
What were you looking for with the alley to have it so it's?
Well, I guess just in general, I didn't have enough money. The city didn't allow me enough money to do the project the way I would have liked to. Had nothing to do with the elevation of the alley, other than I wanted to put another layer of block under the garage so that there wasn't wood experiencing all the moisture from the high alley, and that was not allowed. And other than that, I don't think there's anything you can do. The paving or whatever the surface of that alley really doesn't make any difference. If it's blacktop or if it's red granite or whatever it is, that problem's going to exist. The people that would probably be the southeast side of that alley are worse off than the people on the west side. The property there seems to be higher, and so the alley is almost level with the property. Like say, getting down to mine, there's an 18 to 24 inch drop, so all the water goes into the garage and onto the driveway. And in the wintertime, it's just impossible to keep the ice off of there. You know, it's just a real
So it's-
skating rink. It's a hazard for people that have to walk there.
It's more of a water issue?
Well, it's a water issue, and for the lady upstairs, it's a hardship because she can't, the cabs won't go there, and so she can't get, and the cabs won't stop on Second Avenue. So she has no way in and out of her property for just normal household living, groceries and all the rest of it. The cab service won't go in that alley.
Will they not go in the alley because of the,
Well, I got a letter from her today saying that she's gonna have to move, and like I say, she's been there 29 years, and that's a hardship on her right there, but she says in the wintertime, the cabs will not go there. The cab service just won't go there.
Did she say why?
I guess I have to call the cab company and see if that's a policy, or if it's just a particular driver, or what. But she said they won't go in there.
which we got more cab companies now, was she using the River City one? For the,
I don't know that. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
don't.
no.
I just got that letter today,
no,
so I haven't even taken the opportunity to talk to her, because I really don't know what I'm gonna say. You know, she won't be able to. Right now, I have a barricade up because I had new seating put in where the driveway was. I had the pavement or the granite moved from there, and then I had that put black dirt in there and put grass seed in, and she was having company come in there and drive on that new seating. And I understand, for her trying to tell people how to get into the property, it's kind of difficult to go around the back in the alley and things like that. So I had to put up a blockade there. But, so there really isn't an alternative for her to get in and out of her house.
I don't think this is something the city would do, but for the water on your property, one thing you might want to look into is you could put in a French drain. Have you ever heard of those?
Well, yeah, I have. And I guess, I think you should go look at it and see how you would place that French drain, how you would collect the water before it got to the driveway, and then divert it someplace else. You'd be diverting it either to either neighbor on either side, and that wouldn't be the right thing to do. Or divert it all the way into the lawn, and it would end up in my basement.
Yeah, wouldn't be good either.
Well, alleys around the city are going to be, I think, a topic of discussion as we go on here. In this case right here, as we just are having our snowfall, so the people that are watching us tonight and on replay, we're here on the 3rd of April, and the big snowfall that we're all getting, that maybe we can take a look at when the snow melts again at your place, Joe, and maybe, and to see if there's something that we can look at in this particular instance, if there's something that can be done. And the alley situation overall is going to be looked at.
I don't know. When I first started this project, I thought about moving the garage, and obviously that would have been more expensive than what I already spent, because of the constraints of the property lines. There really wasn't a way to do that and meet the codes. And if we could have moved the garage, we could have raised it up to some level and hauled in fill, and so that that whole area might have been at least the same elevation as the alley.
So you can't raise the garage?
Well, I think we could, yeah. You could raise it up, 2 blocks, and then raise the driveway up, and then maybe put a set of steps or something in to get
Sure.
back down to the normal elevation.
Is there a drainage issue before the garage door was, refronted?
No, because the driveway came in off a Second, and then the driveway was higher, so any water that came in from the alley would just butt up against the driveway. It never, really got around, because of that, the length all the way from the Second Avenue all the way in, you were able to elevate that driveway and alleviate that problem. And it was elevated a lot because the guy that I hired to put that new driveway in thought he could use all that granite there, but he hauled out several truckloads, so there was a lot of granite there.
Well, committee, I don't know if there's anything we can do tonight unless...
No, I guess I wanted to come here and voice, the problems that it is. I felt sorry for the tenant upstairs. Like I say, she's been there 29 years. I don't imagine that's her first choice to move. Especially being a single person.
I think you have two issues. One is the drainage and the other one is the cab, but there might be other cab companies that wouldn't have a problem with it. So you could contact them and rule that out, but we still have the drainage issue.
Well, yeah, and just access to the alley. Like I say, and I understand, everybody wants to be first when you're hire a snow removal service, you're put on the list, and and I'm not saying that alley should be first, but for the people that live there and have to get out to work, and before, all they had to worry about is the snow where the snowplow went. You get on Second Avenue and they had pretty good going after that, but with the alley, and then going out to the north, that's a cul-de-sac there, and so that's a dead-end road. That's not gonna get, quick service either for snow removal. So. Well, just thanks for listening.
You bet.
I mean, I don't, like you say, I don't know what
Yeah,
can
we'll have
be
to
done.
take a
about
look
it.
at it and see what our options are.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Raising the garage, that might be an alternative. Get the garage higher and then haul more fill in
Make a
and
platform, so to
yeah.
speak.
Would appreciate some feedback on it. If somebody else goes there and looks at it, comes up with something. I've had several people, but moving the garage doors from one side to the other seemed like the most inexpensive solution, rather than pick up the whole garage and move it.
Okay, Joe, we'll take a look at and see what
Appreciate it. Thank
come
you.
up with, or if there is anything.
Just keep in touch then. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
ready.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Joe.
Now let's go back to item number 1, review the DPW report.
So in your packet is the report. We'll get this posted on the city's website. A couple things I wanted to highlight for our buildings and grounds work. Our parks crew has been working primarily through the month of March on urban forestry work. We've identified a number of city trees that have needed to be removed because of their condition, as well as a number of ash trees that are in poor condition, whether they were in poor condition before or partly because of the emerald ash borer. A number of those trees have been removed as well. That crew has also been doing structural pruning work and some other urban forestry maintenance work. So I'm really pleased about that. That's a direction I know that I'm excited to see, especially as we're approaching Arbor Day, is a more proactive approach to our urban forestry maintenance, and making that a more significant part of our routine.
Just just to make a comment, the Mayor's Beautification Council, just for the audience, is selling trees at a reasonable price. They range from maybe $40 to $60, and they could contact the city clerk and find out how, there's 4 different types of trees, and it might be very reasonable for anyone who's interested in a tree to purchase one from the city. We would like to, as a total, purchase 100 of them, and as many as we can to the citizens, and the remainder would be for, city grounds and so forth. But it's a real great price. I bought 2 of them 3 years ago, and they look great. So it's something to keep in mind.
A couple other high points. Our 29th Avenue Storm Sewer Replacement Project has started with the installation of dewatering wells towards the end of March, and that project's going to be commencing here very soon. And this Thursday, we've got a pre-construction meeting for the property owners on High Street from 7th to 10th, and on Van Buren for this Thursday at 5 p.m. That's been a very successful program and has really, I think, helped residents get a better feel for what to expect on the project. We're right there in front of their homes looking at plans if they have a question about this particular shrub or this particular piece of sidewalk, or what's going to happen here, or where's that pipe going to go there. We're able to answer them right in their front yard. So we'll continue that practice, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. We've had some real nice compliments on the conditions and cleanliness of our streets. We did get through town and got our streets swept our end of winter. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, but the lack of snow over the last several weeks has allowed us to get that work done, and we've got islands swept up and everything, and I'm really pleased with staff's work there and how the streets are looking. With our wastewater work, some of the flushing and cleaning maintenance is wrapping up, and there's been a focus on scheduling televising inspections and inspection work. The city's made a significant investment about 2 years ago on some software, and over this last winter updating the televising equipment and van. We're expecting about 5 miles worth of sewers to be inspected and televised this summer. Additionally, with the wastewater utility, the plant staff is internally discussing the potential for a name change. The work that has been going on over the last number of years at the wastewater plant has been significant in energy and material recovery. And so there's some general discussion about proposing the name to be changed to the Water Reclamation and Resource Recovery Facility, in that it more accurately describes what the facility does. Because we're treating the wastewater, we're producing and capturing and burning the biogas to create power, and through our thermophilic digestion process, we're producing Class A biosolids that will now be classified as commercial grade fertilizer. Had an opportunity to do a presentation to the 6th grade students at the Wisconsin Rapids Area Middle School in cooperation with the City Police Department and the Wood County Emergency Management on emergency preparedness for various situations. That was a really fun event to attend, and it was a panel discussion. We got questions from the kids, and I was really proud to represent the city with that. Worked with engineering consultants on final design and specs for the aquatics facility and the recreational park at Witter Field. The final plans and specifications are expected to be approved by the state within about 30 to 45 days. Along with most of our DPW staff and some of our engineering staff, wastewater staff, attended CPR and safety training. Continuing to identify capital improvement plan projects and drafting the 2019-2020 capital improvement plan. I expect to have that for the committee's review next month. And continue to work on the public works portions of the city website update that's in progress. I also just wanted to make mention with the snow event today. We've had, our staff has been plowing for about 11 and a half hours, and they'll be, well, it's after 6 now, but we're working till about 6 o'clock tonight, and I think they've been doing a really excellent job. The polls are open today. We've also, in addition to our arterials, making sure that those streets are clean, we've given extra attention to the roads accessing the poles, 3rd Avenue by the Centralia Center, keeping those parking lots as clear as we can, sidewalk shoveled. That staff will be out again early in the morning to get it cleaned up again. So just wanted to give a shout out to our staff and their supervisors for the work that they're doing. And everything else is included in the report. We'll get it posted online.
All right, thank you. Item 2, review and consider approval of amendment number 2 to the East Grand Avenue Design Contract 6999-09-19. And I could read this, but you guys want to take it?
Sure. So yeah, a very brief summary of amendment number 2 to that contract. It's really to incorporate phase 2 investigations for hazardous material that's underground. As part of the project, we had to do a phase 1 investigation, which basically identifies that yes, there are in fact hazardous materials here, and the phase 2 comes subsequent to that, where they put in test wells to determine the extents of where the pollutant is going and which way it's moving. And so that's really what this contract amendment is for. The amendment increases the contract by $35,663.45, and the city is responsible for 20% of that amount, or $7,132.69. So there's additional benefits for the information that's going to come from this for our other underground utility work, and staff would recommend approval of this amendment.
I don't have a problem with it. I just would make a comment here. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, because of the number of gas stations actually that were along that corridor. I mean, so it doesn't surprise me. So
Yeah, there's 6 locations that were identified in the phase 1. So there certainly is hazardous material out there at 6 different locations, and then this amendment will further identify the extent of it and what it actually is. So
I'll move to approve the amendment.
Second.
Any questions, committee? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Item number 3, review and consider approval of the amended transportation project plat for the 2nd Avenue South DOT project, ID 6999-03-20. Attachment 3.
So the attachment numbering was a little mixed up here. It's identified as attachment 2, but the amendment to the plat, if you might recall, the 2nd Avenue DOT project was removed from the DOT's 6-year program, meaning it was basically taken off the table and shelved with no identified construction date or timeline. Just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we were notified that the project was reprogrammed, which is a good thing. And that the project was set for construction in 2019. There's still one parcel that has yet to be for the real estate to clear on, and that is the DOT parcel, which is owned by Department of Administration. So, long story short, I guess the revision of the plat really allows us to, it changes the original plat from a fee interest permanent purchase to a highway easement. We couldn't, it's a formality at the state that they think they can through an easement, go through an easier approval process in order to do that. A highway easement, the city would be afforded the same privileges as owning it as right-of-way. It would just be identified differently. So that's what this plat revision does, is it changes it to a highway easement. This will be resubmitted to the state to hopefully be approved at the building commission, at the state building commission level. And hopefully we can have it cleared up by June of this year. And with that, staff would certainly recommend the approval of that. If there are
So
any
this has-
questions or?
This has to go to the finance and property?
The way it sits today, that was the hangup. It went through the building commission approval as a permanent purchase. They approved it. Actual sale of that has to go through the joint finance committee, and we can't get on their agenda. And it's been like that for at least 6 months or better. So the thought process from the folks at DOA, Department of Administration, they suggested that, well, if we can change it to an easement, we can run it back through the building commission and we don't have to go to joint finance. So that's the process we're taking. We can't condemn state property, so we have to keep talking. The request would be for the committee to make a motion to approve the amended project plat.
I would make that recommendation.
I'll second that. If there's no questions, committee will vote. All in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Item 4, review and consider approval of the construction services contract with MSA Professional Services for the East River Bank project.
So the construction services agreement is included in the packet. It was an item that was part of the 2018 budget for the East River Bank project to include those services to help on site during construction, for construction administration, contractor meetings, payment application review, construction staking, and construction observation, as well as some project closeout services for as-builting and record drawings. The services are estimated to be $149,400. They're structured on an hourly basis, so if the project dictates that we can utilize their services with less time and accomplish what we need to, we would certainly take advantage of that. So just with the current schedule, the draft schedule that's out there and the amount of work, it's certainly an extensive project and a time-consuming endeavor for engineering staff to be out there full-time. So there is included in the packet, there's attachment 1, Exhibit A. It kind of goes into more detail, but if there's any questions regarding that, it kind of outlines based on the scope of or type of service that's being provided, a dollar amount and how many hours that are being allocated for that task. But I don't know if there's any questions or concerns.
When you make a recommendation on this one, it says estimated to be 149,000. Do you put a cap on it? I mean, I let's say as we get into it, it gets more or less, or I was wondering, I'm thinking of other aldermen and how they might look at it as just an open amount, not to exceed, or I don't know, maybe you can't do it once you get into it, but maybe we should say not to exceed 149,000, and that
Probably, yeah.
keeps them feet to the fire, you know.
Yeah. I agree with that, I'd agree.
Then you have to plan accordingly.
So those construction-based services, what we can do as staff is evaluate as the project moves forward. One of the challenges is the delays between recognizing where, once the city's been billed and those hours have been allocated, by the time that gets to a committee meeting, then to the council, it could be a month later before you could approve, any adjustment. So, what we'll probably have to do is look at when we get to about 60 or 70% completion of the project, doing an evaluation of, the progress on construction inspection and project management and oversight as compared to the hours included in the contract.
Yeah.
And if there's a need to make any adjustments, make them, when we're at the 60 to 70% range, rather than dealing with them after the fact.
Right.
I also think that on some of these projects, we should discuss considerations for potential change orders and amounts that are, what the council would deem reasonable. On some of the significant projects, there are going to be some changes, things unforeseen due to soil conditions or conditions on the project or things like that. And to have a change order, again, fall in line with our schedule for our public works and council meetings, could halt a project for quite some time. I think when we recommend projects and recommend approving contracts in the future, it would be in the city's best interest at that point to discuss because every project's a little bit different. What does the committee and the council feel is reasonable for a department head like the city engineer to be able to evaluate and be able to make those types of decisions quickly, because oftentimes they're required to be made quickly in order to move that project forward. I don't think that's necessary. It's out of the scope of this, but something that we do need to be cognizant of on our on our contract type projects.
I don't have a problem with discussing that because,
I think it's a good idea because
I don't want to hold up the project for a reasonable amount of money.
it might be more costly then too if we have to
To wait
hold it
3
up.
weeks for a council meeting or something like that, I understand that.
We do have some general procedures and policies already in place, but it's for very nominal amounts.
Yeah.
And on routine projects, if it's a sidewalk project or a curb project, it's totally adequate for the types of changes that we would expect to see. But on these projects that are very significant, when it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $1 million, $1,000 to $5,000 change order, there's not too many change orders that are going to fall into that scope. It's going to be in the tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases it's reductions. We had a couple change orders for our splash pad project that reduced the cost of the project by $8,000, and that there's a lot more comfort. We've signed those because it's been a reduction in cost. But I think it would be in the best interest of everybody involved if there's an understanding of what's allowed, reports so that it's transparent, and then where the council gives the staff a level of authority that the council feels is appropriate for that type of project. So we'll discuss that and bring that up and try to make that consistent with our future project awards.
Okay. Let's see.
So we'd look for a motion to approve the service contract
Yeah.
with MSA, capping the construction services agreement cost at $149,400.
I'll make a motion to approve the East River Bank project with MSA for an amount not to exceed $149,400.
I'll second it.
Motion and second to approve that at $149,400. Committee, all in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Item 5, review and consider approval of proposals for concrete pavement joint sealing on West Grand Avenue, west of the Riverview Expressway.
So we had originally budgeted for doing joint sealing work on West Grand Avenue in 2017, and in searching for contractors that do that work, we spent an extensive amount of time talking to contractors, trying to get quotes. We further talked with the DOT and Wood County and other municipalities afterwards, just due to the difficulty in trying to get quotes for that type of work. We had received two American Paving Solutions and Farner Asphalt quotes in 2017. However, the quotes, the unit costs that they had provided at that time were above the threshold that we should be seeing for that type of work. Anything under $2 a lineal foot is really what we were looking for. American Paving Solutions, they did return a call to us again this year after rebudgeting monies to do that joint sealing work. They came out to the project and just trying to get to a price that was appropriate. They've got a proposal in at $1.99 a lineal foot. And so with that, we're looking at using American Paving Solutions, just from the fact that they're basically the only competitive price and only one of two contractors that are interested in even considering the work for a maintenance project on West Grand Avenue for joint sealing. In total transparency, the city did not re-advertise in 2018 for this. We struggled and with the effort by the engineers to request proposals and individually solicit proposals from companies. The question was whether or not it's appropriate to put this on the agenda and make a recommendation, only really having one new price. And I was consulted on that and felt that given the amount of effort that's been already put in place trying to encourage and individually solicit contractors to make proposals, that a Class 1 notice really wouldn't accomplish anything. That said, our normal process would be to also advertise. I just wanted to let you know that, so that if there's any question about putting a formal advertisement out, we did not do that. We're not required by law to do that, but that is a city policy. And so we do recommend that we move forward, because we did get a price back that's deemed to be a reasonable price, as compared to other projects throughout the state. And we do have a lot of concrete joint sealing work that needs to take place. We're really getting behind on it, and so we want to get this contract approved so we can get that work done before it's really too late.
Yeah, I feel confident if that's a price that you feel is reasonable, that you don't have to advertise it anymore, especially if you're going out of your way to try to get bids.
Soliciting,
Yeah,
right.
so.
Okay.
I'll make a recommendation to award the maintenance proposal for a joint sealing along West Grand Avenue to American Paving Solution for $1.99 for linear foot.
I'll second that. If this was to be bid, Joe, how long would that process take?
It'd be another month.
Do you feel confident that they would put in a bid for that?
I didn't speak with them directly. I mean, I would think so.
So if it was a,
It's a proposal, not a bid, because it's a,
right, so if it was a bid
Yes.
with the contract and I mean, they're still gonna follow the specifications we want them to, but there's the insurance and bid bonds and different things that they have to have in place if it was an actual bid. In this case, we don't have to do that.
Mhm.
We can just do a proposal and have the conditions of the work that we
Yeah.
want to take place. So yeah, I mean, it could be, so if it's just a proposal, it could be advertised
Yeah.
between now and council.
I'd rather see more than one proposal.
so we do have two.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
And,
and-
right, because we have one from Farner and we have one from American Paving. And essentially, we've been trying to negotiate with them to bring that price down to something that's a little more in line with what we're seeing with other DOT projects. And American Paving agreed to do that. So it isn't that there aren't multiple
Right.
proposals.
Any other comments by anybody?
So you want to change?
No, no, I just a comment, I didn't make that if I second that or
Yeah.
not, so. Maybe all in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Let's see. 6. Review the 2017 MS4 Annual Stormwater Report submitted to the DNR. And that's our PW number 6.
This is an annual report. We've been doing it now for, maybe going on close to 8 or 9 years now. It is on the city's website currently, so if anybody's interested in finding it there, they certainly can. I'll just kind of run through it briefly. The MS4 permit, it stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. So it's just an acronym of sorts. It's the city's permit for our stormwater discharges. As part of that permit, there are a few conditions, things that we need to follow through on and report on. Public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, illicit discharge detection and elimination, to name a few. We do have, in 2017, we did inspect 48 outfalls and tested those for a variety of different contaminants that might indicate that something's in the storm, something's being dumped down the storm sewer system. It's 48 of 96 total outfalls that we have, so we rotate every 2 or 3 years between outfall locations based upon their priority. We did have one illicit discharge in the Wisconsin River that we're still following up on. It's a reoccurring event, and you can visually see it in the river when it shows up just south of the Jackson Street Bridge. So that's something that was reported in here and is continuing to be worked through possible sources and cooperation with the city. Construction site pollution control. There were 8 construction sites that we issued permits for in the 2017 calendar year for basically for land disturbing or stormwater related activities. Post-construction stormwater management, so those would be more like ponds and treatment devices. There were 21 inspections that were done on privately owned facilities. And the city has nine structures that it currently owns and operates to treat stormwater. And 7 of them were reported, or had inspection reports put together for this reporting season. Additional things that are included in the report: Public Works properties, garage collection services such as street sweeping, cleaning programs, cleaning catch basins, sumps. We've got 1,000 catch basins in the city, and we pulled out over 100 tons of material that was captured in those basins. Leaf collection programs, that's information that we report on, as well as winter road management, so salt usage. There's 346 lane miles of roadway that have snow and ice control. The city provides service on. We went through about 2,700 tons of salt, and part of the reporting year, we started using a salt brine solution that we do have some initial data on, but it's not included in a monthly breakout in the report this year, but hopefully next year. There's also some budget numbers that are attached in the end of the report. Kind of goes through the annual expenditures, the budget for the reporting year, and then the proposed budget for the upcoming year. So, as I said, it's an annual report. It is on the website if anybody's interested in looking at it further or has any questions. You can certainly give me a call in the engineering department.
Okay, committee, do you have any questions tonight or anything, or comments? Okay. Item 8.
Do we need the city's formal recognition of the report and approval?
We could. I think that question comes up every year too. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to approve the report as presented.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the annual MSO4 report as presented.
I'll second that. Committee, all in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. 8 now, we'll do 8. Review the referral list.
So I think there's a number of items we can, because we've addressed them this evening, we can remove from the referral list. Number 10, number 11, 12, 13, and 14. I think 15 is still pertinent. I think we still want to take a look at that and potentially look at some of our assessment practices and procedures for alleys. I have received questions from other residents about alley paving, and I think it'd be good to, we haven't done a lot of that type of work in the last several years. It'd be good to look at our policies and procedures and determine if we feel that they're still appropriate, and if not, make some changes. So
I think it's a great idea, so we don't have to deal with alley by alley, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And someone says, well, you did it to that alley, why can't you do it to our alley? So the more you can get some commonality, I think the better.
and those situations, alley situations, are sometimes quite unique.
Yeah.
The type of design and problem solving that might work for one might just not be practical at all for another. So they are, you know, because of the very limited area that the city has to work, the unique nature that they're really a access point for, you know, for the residents. It's not, you know, they're not a through street, they're really not used. There's not a lot of benefit to the community as a whole, although you could argue that there is some. It's, you know, keeps the, if your refuse is collected off the alley, it's keeping the refuse truck from impeding traffic on the street. You know, there are some other benefits. You know, you're not backing out into a live lane of traffic versus an alley that has just a few. So there are some public benefits to that, but I think evaluating those general policies would be a good thing to do.
All right, item number 9. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Okay, motion second to adjourn, all in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. We're adjourned at 6:59. Thank you.